What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and today I've been playing a bunch of the Monster Hunter World Iceborne beta, and I really want to talk about it. As many of you may remember, in early 2018, just last year, I was very impressed by Monster Hunter World because it manages to be a very big reboot. It has different technical systems, it's a lot more approachable, and quite frankly, it's just gorgeous. But at its heart is still just the Monster Hunter formula. Find beasts, kill beasts, make cool armor out of beasts. I mean, it's pretty dang straightforward. But I'm particularly excited for the Iceborne expansion because it seems like it's trying to do what DLC does best, which is expand and also sort of recreate. Within this downloadable content, when it comes out in September, apparently we're going to get access to a giant new icy area of the continent, but we're also getting some additional abilities, that way we can go back and hunt the original monsters in a new way. In this beta, it really seems to be trying to highlight both of those aspects, because you can do the original beginner mission from the main game and track down this freaking really weak, funny looking weird dinosaur thing, and by using the new skills you have in this, like the ranged grapple hook, you notice that Iceborne is definitely going to be different. Now let me just real quick talk about this new skill. It's hilarious. So obviously we've always had different styles of ranged attacks, both with weapons and just by using different things as slingshots, but this feels new because you can now just shoot and pull yourself directly towards enemies. Now this isn't overpowered. Honestly, my biggest fear was that this would make things way too easy, but they actually balance it by, well, first of all, it actually uses a ton of stamina, so you can only use it while you're well fed and warmed up, and additionally, it's definitely got a very short range. It's nice, it definitely makes getting onto people's backs easier, but it's not an instant win. But speaking of temperature, this seems like it's going to be the primary battle that we're going to be battling against and dealing with predominantly throughout the Iceborne main expansion when it releases. So one of the key parts of just playing Monster Hunter World or just the older Monster Hunter games is keeping your hunter in tip-top shape, managing to eat good food, keep your weapons sharp, and, you know, just kind of keep yourself in peak condition, that way you can continue to fight these larger-than-life creatures. Well, there has been some times in the past where we've had to worry about getting too cold or too hot, and it seems like in the Iceborne game, I think that there's going to be a huge battle just to keep your body temp up. Now, what I mean by that is, in this beta, they really highlighted the fact that if you don't have some hot cocoa basically always in your pouch, you are going to get screwed over. Now, as an additional assistant to make this a little bit more streamlined, they have also added some nice hot springs, that way you can just take a dip to instantly boost your body temp. It does seem like this is something that's going to be a very big thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on, especially because if you've ever played Monster Hunter, well, the fights are long. A lot of times you can be fighting a singular monster for 10, 20, or even 30 minutes. So if you're in freaking 10 degrees below 0 Celsius, well, you're going to need to constantly worry about keeping your temperature as high as possible so you don't become a Monster Hunter icicle. I think that this is interesting, and thankfully, now that I've played the beta, I'm not as nervous about it. It seems like warm drinks have a very lasting effect. I typically only needed 1 or 2 throughout an entire mission, so it basically just felt like the same way that I periodically needed to eat some fresh meat to refill my stamina meter, or I occasionally needed to stop and rebuff my weapons by using a whetstone. It feels about like that. You have to use it, but not constantly, thankfully. The biggest thing in this beta, though, that was just so freaking great is we got to see more of the new gear and new weapons and stuff like that, but we also got to see some new monsters, or I guess I should say classic monsters coming back. This dude is one of the most famous monsters from the entire franchise, and here he is in all of his freaking glory, running on my PlayStation 4 Pro. I'm so glad that they're bringing back some of the most famous freaking creatures, and they're here. They're great. Honestly, I'm getting a little bit choked up as you hear me record recording this, just because I really do like a lot of the classics. I think that they are super cool, and it's cool to see them come back. I have the feeling that this is going to be a very, very, very big expansion, but it's definitely aimed at people who already bought Monster Hunter World and loved it. Several of my friends put 100 hours into that game, which isn't a huge shock because there is just so much to kill and collect and craft, and this looks like it's probably going to add an additional 50 or 100 hours onto it. This was a nice beta because it gave us different targets, different objectives, and different chances to just team up with random players online and slice and dice. But now I'm basically just trying to count the days until we get the actual game instead of just a little taste test. Did you get a chance to try the Iceborne beta yourself, and is this something that seems to have really whetted your appetite, or does this seem like something that's not enough? If you're somebody who's ever been interested in Monster Hunter World and you missed the original beta, I highly recommend you install this because it's free. This weekend, if you have PlayStation Plus, you can install it, or next weekend, if you don't have PlayStation Plus, you can install it. It's really just a great excuse to kill monsters, get loot, and have a good time. So really, you gotta check it out. I'm definitely going to be doing a full review of the expansion when it comes out in September, and until now, I guess I'm just going to keep slaying these monsters a couple more times. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do it the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.